Hello everyone, welcome to EduTab and also welcome to the government scheme session. So recently RBI has released a master circular on the scheme Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission. I'm sorry, here rural is missing. So National Rural Livelihood Mission. So what is the scheme all about? What was in the master circular? Everything we are going to understand in this particular session. But before starting the video, here's an announcement for all the aspirants who are preparing for central regulatory bodies. We have come up with one-stop solution guide to all the queries that you might be having regarding the organization. What is the role of RBI, NABARD and SEBI in India's economy? What are the different departments in it? What will be your role to play once you join the organization at a certain designation? And I'm sure after understanding this, you would really want to know how to actually enter the organization, right? So for that, everything about the recruitment test process, how many phases are there, what sort of questions are asked, what is the mode of examination, what is the syllabus, previous year trends of cutoffs, everything with a 6-step formula has been provided in these guidebooks, which you can read and understand, and you can start with your preparation without any confusion in your mind. So please do not miss the opportunity. You can download these books from the link that is provided in the description box below. Okay, talking about the syllabus, if we join it with the syllabus of your ESI of for be it RBI or NABARD, and in fact the ARD factor of it. So ARD का तो you have to be clear cut कि यार rural development के बारे में बोल रहा है, so it is a component of ARD. But if you look at ESI, there's a particular line in your syllabus which says poverty alleviation programs of the government, and of course this particular scheme focuses on that, and hence it is part of your it is part of your syllabus, very important. Along with that, it has been in news for n number of reasons. I've just added these two certain news, but there were many news that were there. This is of recently, few days back, that is of 18th April 2023. So under the scheme, so the scheme has launched national campaign Sangatan Se Samriddhi. Sangatan means group of people, so basically a club, you can say in English. Say Samriddhi. Samriddhi means prosperity. So clubbing people for something which we will understand what the scheme is all about, and for what? For the prosperity in their life, in their family. Okay, to mobilize 10 crore women in the self-help groups. Okay, this was one news. I've added the link. If you want to read the news in detail, you can do. Next is DAY-NRLM organized CSR conclave with corporates for synergizing efforts at the ground root level. Okay, so here this was in news. Why CSR they are attached with it, you will understand once we when we'll be studying about the scheme also, and I've also added the link. The reason of adding link of this particular one is why, because there's a lot of thing that has been written about the challenges of CSR and all these things. Okay, so that is why I've added the link, because this you can actually utilize in your descriptive answer if there's certain question that is associated with it. Okay, that is why I've added the link. Do read, give it a read, and also this is what the master circular I was talking about. So basically, what is a master circular? So any updates or any information that was priorly been published regarding a particular program, which in this case is DAY-NRLM. So basically everything has is then clubbed, and then one single circular is being published. Okay, and that is known as master circular. So same has been done on 26th of April 2023. Now I know this does not come up with the 4 months 5 month duration that we say, but it is very hot topic. RBI has itself published a master circular. I have added the link. I say you must go through this if you're preparing for RBI examination, and in fact for NABARD examination it is very important to read this master circular. Okay, so now let's come to the scheme. So see, this talks about Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. Deen Dayal was the name of the politician. Antyodaya, see, it has been made up of two words, Ant, Uday, and then it is combined for Antyodaya. Okay, Ant means end. So basically to reach the end of the society, and here we are not talking about geographical end, we are talking about who are not who are at the end at the societal level, who are not much aware about the privileges that they can have. So we are talking about end. And then Uday means rise. So to rise the ones who are at the end of all the benefits that the society can have, for their development, this particular scheme has been launched. Okay, and then comes about national. So it is at national level. Rural means we are talking about just the rural India, not the urban India. Okay, then we are talking about livelihood. So what is livelihood? So livelihood is basically how you do your daily survival, how you live, that is your livelihood, and there's a mission associated with it. So what the basic idea of is, if we look at till 65% around population that lives in rural India according to the census, and in that a lot of women, not only women, actually the family, they are still bp in the at the bpl level, okay, below poverty line. So to rise, to provide them with better livelihood opportunities, to first of all aware them about the different employment opportunities that they can have, along with that, to aware them with the facilities which government provide. For example, in social security schemes they can come, right? And of course, if they will get money from the government itself, it will help to improve their livelihood, right? Along with that, again telling them about the different employment opportunity. Now next step is to actually train them for the employment, and once that done, then providing them with some financial assistance as well, so that if they want to be an entrepreneur, if they want to have their own business, they can actually run it. Okay, so this all comes under DAY-NRLM. It is an umbrella scheme. What is an umbrella scheme? That this is a, it has a big objective. So under this, various sub schemes are there. For example, last one we studied, it was Deen Dayal, it was Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana, right? So it was Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So that, in that we were talking about how the rural youth, poor rural youth, yeah, remember, if you remember, poor rural youth, they were provided with the skill development, right? And what does NRLM focus on? Focuses on the livelihood, to improve the livelihood of what? To the end of the societal, who are at the end of the society, right? And here we talked about the poor youth, right? So I hope now you can link that how the Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana was up, is and still is a part of DAY-NRLM. Okay, DAY-NRLM is a big scheme which talks about improving the livelihood in the rural part of India. Okay, and especially this focuses on the poor people only, right? So this is about the National Rural Livelihood Mission. And see, there's a history also, and which has been asked previously in NABARD as well, and that is why we'll talk about it. Initially this scheme was, there was a scheme that was launched in 1999 with the name Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Okay, so Gram is village, Swarojgar is your Swarojgar is your earnings, and there was Yojana, it means it was a scheme. Okay, so initially there came a scheme, but then it was restructured, and then after restructuring the name, it was then changed to Ajivika National Rural Livelihood Mission. Now this is something controversial. I'll just tell you in the next slide only. Okay, so basically what happened, initially there was a scheme, Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Now that particular scheme was different. There was a lot of, you can say, mandates were changed. There were a lot of restructuring happened of that, and then completely new scheme which had maybe had 5% of the previous aim, but then 95% with new objectives. The scheme was launched, that was known as Ajivika National Rural Livelihood Mission, right? After that this name was changed, so Ajivika was changed to DAY, that is a Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. Okay, and that happened somewhere in 2016. Okay, so that happened in 2016. ठीक है, ये नाम change हुआ. So what does it mean? So how the question came in examination? They asked what was the previous name of NRLM. So previous name was Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Along with that, you have to remember date as well, right? Because it can happen. They might ask that when was the NRLM name was changed. So at that time you should remember it is 2016, right? So that is why I've just shown you the timeline, and now let's come up. Yeah, so here's an objective also that you can remember. The objective of the mission is to promote sustainable livelihood. We have already talked about, and three important things that has been intended to do under this. First is access to formal credit. Okay, first of all, they should be aware of how they can actually take loans, to open their bank accounts, doing everything to provide them with the access. Support for diversification and strengthening of livelihood. What are the different options of employment they have? So to support them with that, to aware them, to then to have capacity building. What is capacity building? Basically to train them, to build capacity in them, to build the skill in them. And access to entitlements and public services. Also there are various schemes that are run under by government, right, to make them aware that these are the rights that you have, which you can actually utilize, and then providing them that as well. Okay, so these are the main three objectives of the scheme. This snippet has been directly taken from the official website itself. Talking about launch year, now this is very confusing. Why? And controversial, because in most of the website, I know you must have seen 2011. Okay, but if you look at the RBI circular, the RBI has said the launch year, it is what? It is 2013. Okay, it says Government of India launched NRLM by restructuring Swarn Jayanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana with effect from 1st April 2013. This what has been written in RBI as well as NABARD. But if you look at the official website, it says about in the year 2010. Now what we usually do in such situation, we always go with the official notification, and this is what the ministry's notification guideline says, which says 2010. But why am I showing you this one RBI one? Because see, it is an RBI examination, the next examination that is coming, and in examination, if 2010 it is not present in your option, then in that case you should remember that 2013 will be the right answer, because it has been present in RBI itself, in the RBI's master circular. Okay, so always we should go with the official notification. But in this case, if 2010 is not present in your option, then in that case you should immediately remember it should be 2013. Okay, I hope that's clear. If we talk about the ministry, it comes under Ministry of Rural Development, easy to remember. And here it has also, the ministry has also taken some support as a loan from the World Bank. You tell me in the comment section how much loan has been taken from the World Bank. Okay, talking about aim, that is to mobilize 10 to 12 crore rural household into self-help groups. What are self-help groups? As the name suggests, these are groups formed where they self-help, means first of all they'll collect money, and then they'll do because then individually they might not have enough money, but when they collect it, it's more, right? So they can actually utilize the money for better good. Along with that, government also help SHGs with a loan that is provided by the banks, right? Because there are more people, so they might be able to return back the money, right? So we have to mobilize this 10 to 12 rural household into SHG in a phased manner and provide them with the long term support to provide them these group can actually club the money and they can start their own business, right? Women, they can start their own business, and they can do much better with that. Type of scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme, means the state and the central government both will provide funding for this. If we talk about especially the budget of this year 2023-24, so it is your rupees 14,127 crore. Okay, it should be crore. Okay, so this is the amount that has been assigned. Talking about some of the key features. Okay, so we have universal social mobilization. So it talks about universal social, so basically we are including everybody. Okay, so in this key feature, at least one women member to be brought under the SHG focus on the vulnerable section will be done, of course, because we are talking about the social mobilization. Okay, and at the universal level, universal means including everyone. Second is participatory identification of poor. So basically this is a particular method where under the NRLM, where the houses are identified that these are actually belong to the BPL category and these are not. So there is a process which is known as participatory indication of poor, because of course they are the one who need the employment the most to improve their livelihood in a better manner, right? Next is community funds and resources. Okay, so we are talking about revolving funds. So these funds actually never end, so they keep on circulating between the SHGs, between people. That is a revolving fund and community investment fund. So basically what the idea of self-help group is to have more people, so accumulate more money, so they can be actually utilized for a better good. Okay, as a community they can establish something new, they can start something new, and they will be having money. They also having a money financial security for that. Next is financial inclusion. So NRLM works both on demand and supply side. What does it mean? Demand means by first of all making SHGs, awareing them about how they can go for self-employment. Then they will be needing money for enterprises, right? So demand has been generated. Then how the government helps from the supply side. So now these SHG will go to bank for money, right? Now bank can't risk all the money, right? So then government, they back up how they back up. If you remember the interest subvention scheme that we have done, and if you don't remember, I would request you to watch that, because that also talks about banks and things, so high chances of coming in RBI examination. So there we talked about how the government focuses that whatever be the rate of interest of the bank will be, government will pay the gap between that and 7%. What does it means? That government will fill the gap to reducing it to 7%, which can be actually paid by the self-help groups, right? So how what has been done, government has worked from both demand and supply side. Okay, banks are getting whatever they should actually get, and here even the SHGs do not have any burden, because the gap will be provided by the central government only. Apart from that, livelihood. Okay, so here of course livelihood we are talking about to improve provide them with food security by awareing them about the PDS system. Along with that, making ration cards for them so that they can actually take benefit of it. Along with that, they come up with under various security scheme. For example, if we talk about the elder people, they come up they can be part of various retirement schemes, right? If we talk about NPS also, we have old age pension scheme also. There are a lot telling them about Manrega, all these things to have a impact on their positive impact on their livelihood. Convergence and partnership, high emphasis or convergence with other programs of Ministry of Rural Development, okay, so that there is a you can say parallel development that happens. Sensitive support structures, what does it mean? So basically people, there will be some trainees, trainers who will train the trainees, right? So there will be some trainer to build some empathy inside them, because see, because we are talking about the lowest strata of the rural India to teach them, right? So there might be some difficulty, you know, training them. It might be something of a task for the trainer to train, because we don't know, right, what is the learning ability or learning capacity of a particular person, right? So for that, the trainers have to be very empathetic and sensitive towards the people, right? So that they have that patience to actually teach them. So for that, sensitive and dedicated support structure will be formed. And so these were some of the features, right? Along with that, there are for example 25% of the NRLM fund, whichever will be assigned, are earmarked Ajivika skill development program. Means for skill development, 25% of the total budget of NRLM will be sent, okay, or will be utilized. Encouraging public sector banks to set up rural self-employment training institute. तो नाम से पता चल रहा है what will be the use of rural self-employment training institute. That will be to train people, right, in the line of rural development self-employment institute model. Okay, so what does it mean? So public sector banks will be encouraged to establish the training centers, institutes where the NRLM people will be trained. Now there is also National Rural Livelihood Project. Okay, now this project, we talked about sensitization in the previous slide also, right? So this is the National Rural Livelihood Project is for that purpose. Okay, first of all, trainers have to be trained. They have to be informed about what the objective of the scheme would be, what the objective of training the people in the rural India would be, right? So for that, National Rural Livelihood Project has been launched. So this is for whom? This is for the trainers. Okay, is designed as a subset of NRLM to create proof of concept. What does proof of concept means? To have a prototype, to tell them a basic idea that these are the things, these are the objectives of running this program, and the whatever result that the government want, they first will make them understand to the trainers. Okay, build capacities of the center and state in 13 poverty states. Okay, because the 13 states in India, they constitute about 90% of the rural poor in country. ठीक है, तो इस वाली line में you just have to understand them that National Rural Livelihood Project is for the trainers so that they can be understood about the objectives of the scheme. And this was the basic, that is all about the scheme. Again, now you will be able to understand that, right? We talked about how corporate and it happens, we talk about there's a corporate need to invest some money in government structures. Okay, so that is known as the CSR responsibility. I hope you all are aware of that. Okay, so for that, now there was a particular meeting that was organized. Again, you can look at the link, and there is a particular portion on CSR challenges. You can utilize that in your answer if any question like such comes. Second, now संगठन से समृद्धि. ठीक है, अब उन्होंने क्या करा, मिशन वी नो इट्स अ अम्ब्रेला स्कीम. सो अब कैंपेन चलाया संगठन से समृद्धि टू मोबिलाइज 10 crore रूरल वुमेन. ओके, नाउ बिकॉज these programs, they keep on happening, new campaigns keep on happening to add more and more people about SHG. So in this particular the संगठन से समृद्धि, what will happen, the SHGs that have already been formed, they will be bought as an example, or they will be invited as an example to tell rest of the women how they can actually progress in the rural India, how they can actually help their family economically, and then to aware them about the opportunities they have and all these things. Again, you can read the link. This was the master circular. Again, here all the detailed information, the static portion which we have studied, along with that a lot of data has been provided, right? So what things that needed to be understood, I have already explained it to you, and there's nothing more regarding what the basic essence of the scheme is. But yes, there's a lot of data that has been mentioned in this particular RBI circular. Again, I would say if you're sincerely preparing for RBI, you must go through this master circular. Again, you're looking at one more link above. So this particular link, it is related to the guidelines that has been launched by Ministry of Rural Development. Now, why have I added this? See, I have already explained whatever it is present there, but these are some of the small things which you can actually utilize in your answers if you want to better it. So just for your descriptive answer purpose, I've added this link. There's nothing new you would find there, but yes, you can pretty much utilize this answer in your descriptive writing, and hence I've just added that. So if you want to read, you can, but if you want to skip, you can, but this one you should definitely go for sure. Okay, so that is all. You have a homework. Which of the following are the objectives of the scheme mentioned in the above paragraph? Basically NRLM we are talking about. Okay, so that is all in this video. If you like the video, kindly comment, do let me know what improvement can be done, or if you like the session. And you can also join our YouTube channel for more such videos, and please join our Telegram channel to get the PDF of this and every lecture that we provide here on YouTube. So that is all in all. Now what I'll do, whatever schemes, I'll just go through previous year RBI questions, and whichever schemes have been asked in those, I'll cover one by one. Okay, I think this formula will go till now, and if in between any news that any scheme that was in news it comes, I'll also add that. Okay, so that is all. Thank you for watching the session, and all the very best for examination, and thank you.